and welcome to Sessions and On That Note, and I am sitting here with the talented Cory Glaeser. Thank you for coming over to my house today, Cory.
Thank you for having me, Cindy.
And Cory is a very talented musician. He's in lots of bands and has played in Austin for quite some time. I'm continuing my interviews of Skyrocket members because you play in the band Skyrocket. You just started being a permanent performer with them, and you were subbing for them for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And you've played in Fastball, mm-hmm. and you have your own band, Sheboygan. So there's lots for us to talk about. First of all, Sheboygan, mm-hmm. Wisconsin.
Right.
You're from Wisconsin?
Yes.
And is that where you started playing music?
Yes. Born and raised in Sheboygan. That's started when I was about 11.
11? And which instrument did you start with first?
Guitar, and then bass, and then piano.
Okay. And which instrument would you say now is like your main instrument?
I would say bass because all those groups that you mentioned just before,
mm-hmm.
that's what I play in those.
Mm-hmm. And is that the one you prefer, or?
Right now, yeah. I
okay.
mean, that's kind of where I feel comfortable.
So what got you into playing music in the first place?
Well, I mean, I always liked music. You know, my folks listened to a lot of really good music. You know, Beatles and such, and in around the neighborhood, you know how you play Star Wars and play war and stuff like that. We did all that, but we also had a air band where you make cardboard guitars and kind of lip sync and all mm-hmm. that stuff. So we did that to Def Leppard and, you know, some fun early 80s things like that.
Yeah, and so is that the kind of stuff that inspired you, Def Leppard and, you know, those 80s bands? And then the Beatles you mentioned. Anybody else?
Yeah. I would say so, you know, because that was kind of, it was on MTV and everything. It was all very exciting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I can definitely hear sort of a nostalgic quality in a lot of the music that you play. Obviously, Skyrocket is a cover band, and that's sort of natural, but also mm-hmm. in Sheboygan. Mm-hmm. So how would you describe the stuff that you do in Sheboygan?
I would say that it's melodic rock and roll, mm-hmm. you know. Not as heavily based on, you know, lyrics and things like that, just more melody and, you know, kind of upbeat kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, but vocals are important in it. I think, like, the combining of vocals.
Yeah, oh yeah, well, we tend to do a lot of harmonized stuff, which is kind of a signature of our influences, such as the Beatles and the Beach Boys and things like that.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
So
that's
absolutely.
Probably what gives it the sort of nostalgic quality.
Yeah.
And the other guys in the band, are they also from Wisconsin?
Gray is from Oklahoma originally, and Rusty is, I met him in Wisconsin, and he lived there for a good portion of his life, but I think he's originally from Colorado. That's where he did most of his growing up.
Okay, so you guys really were not doing any band stuff in Wisconsin before you came to Austin?
Oh, we were, actually, because we were in school together, and we were
okay.
studying jazz guitar, and so we played in many different kind of things from jazz to, you know, cover bands, and then Rusty moved down to Austin, and then we kind of picked it up where we left off.
Who moved to Austin first?
I did.
And was it just to, like, pursue the music dream? Was that, like, the goal?
Yeah, well, that and just to do something, you know. And I mean, I just kind of felt like I wanted to get out of Milwaukee and go somewhere. I kind of thought I was going to go to New York, but it's really expensive and everything for one, but also I was playing jazz at the time, and I kind of saw what was going on out there, and it's pretty intense. And I didn't know that I really wanted to focus my entire musical career on doing jazz, which to play at that level that those guys in New York do, you kind of have to, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, so are you glad that you moved to Austin?
Yeah, I am, because I've met so many great
right.
People that are now, you know, some of my best friends and everything. So
right. And when did you move to Austin?
It was November of 98.
98. So I've moved in 99, so we've been here like almost mm-hmm. the same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So Sheboygan you've been playing with, and most recently those bands that I mentioned, but other bands in the interim, other bands, you know, since 1998, have you been in any?
Or
has it just all been Sheboygan?
It's been, well, You mean like original music bands and stuff like that, or anything? Yeah, I mean, I played in, pretty much anybody, because I didn't know anybody when I met here, or when I moved here, so anybody that I met that I could play with, I did, and
You
some
played
of
with Paul
them.
Miner, some of the stuff with him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's not even all that long ago either, because I played with Paul just a few months ago, but yeah, I played with Paul and his different projects quite a bit. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Paul has a way of like pulling musicians together for a lot of different things.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I like Paul a lot too. I like the super ego stuff that he does. I wish I would see him doing that more often.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
We used to do the rock and roll free for all on Sunday nights, and we play a bunch of his songs, and then you know how that, and then you do jams, and that's where I met a lot of people.
That's where I met a lot of people too. So. Okay, so then most recently you were asked to join Fastball. Fastball, the band from the 90s that had big hits, and Miles and Tony are still together, and Joey, and they asked you to be the bass player for them. And so how did you feel when they asked you to do that? What was that like?
That was real exciting because I'm a fan of their music, so, because that falls right into that... the genre that Beatle-esque,
melodic,
yeah. So yeah, that was real exciting to be able to play with those guys because I love the music and all, and it presented some opportunities, just kind of traveling and stuff like that I hadn't really experienced before.
And so, how many tours did you go out?
We did 2 tours this past year, and then just some other things in between.
And was it hard joining a group that had been together for so long? Those 3 had been sort of a unit for a long time.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, you're an easygoing guy, so you probably fit in anywhere. Anything fun? Any sort of road stories? I'm sure lots of crazy things happened while you guys were on the road.
We jammed with Jerry Springer.
Yeah. So I remember seeing some pictures on Twitter about that.
That was kind of weird and interesting.
And why did you do that?
Well, we were playing at a festival, and I think it was in New Jersey, and I think
it was right after I saw you guys in Boston.
Exactly, yeah. And I think whatever it was like that's where he and some other dude filmed their their shows because they don't do
Howard
New York
Stern.
anymore. No, not Howard Stern,
but
that
other guy from Howard Stern.
Steve Wilkos, maybe.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, so they film there now, and they were at this event, this big festival and everything, and they were just sitting on the side of the stage, and Tony, I think, jokingly said, "Hey, Jerry, come on up here." And okay, so he popped up on stage.
What did he play? A guitar?
He strapped on an acoustic and he sang "Me and Bobby McGee." Didn't really know the words, and kind of made them up as he went along.
And was the guitar plugged in?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
He did better on the guitar than he did on the singing. But
and what was it like, the reception to Fastball at this point? Because they put out a new record earlier this year, I guess it was, that they put that record. It's a great record. So, what would you say people were feeling about it? Would you get a lot of crowds at shows across the country? Where were some of the biggest fan bases, I guess?
Where were the biggest... so what cities do we have the biggest crowds in? I don't know. Let's see. I'd have to think about that for a second. But I will say this, that they were always very, very enthusiastic, and we always played really well.
People love those songs.
Yeah, and all the new stuff too. People really took to that. I thought, I don't know. I wasn't with them before, so I don't have anything to compare it to, but I thought everybody really dug it.